Welcome, dear viewers, to a new, deeply analytical and highly important episode. This is a topic that touches the lives of almost everyone watching today. It directly concerns those dealing with cardiovascular diseases, high blood pressure, and a history of strokes. It is especially vital for diabetic patients who are highly susceptible to elevated cholesterol, triglycerides, and severe cardiovascular complications. It also matters deeply to smokers. Smoking takes a massive toll on the heart and overall health. I used to be a smoker myself, and thankfully, I have successfully quit for a long time. I might share my personal journey and the exact method I used in a dedicated future episode. Furthermore, today's topic concerns those of us leading sedentary lifestyles, a widespread issue in our Arab countries due to a lack of sports facilities and general physical activity, as well as people dealing with chronic stress, which silently but violently damages the heart and blood vessels over time. Today, we are diving deep into a fascinating medical breakthrough. We are talking about something I like to call the super Omega-3, a highly potent, highly purified, and incredibly powerful version of the supplement you thought you knew. You might be wondering, is there really a regular Omega-3 and a super one? Absolutely. And the difference between them is a matter of life and death for some patients. The regular Omega-3 you often hear about, the one you see heavily promoted in countless YouTube videos, is standard fish oil. I actually have a bottle of it right here, and I use it frequently myself for general health. It has many well-documented benefits. However, today we are not talking about standard fish oil. We're going to focus on the newly released Super Omega-3. This specific formulation is backed by groundbreaking new research, massive clinical trials, and is currently making monumental waves in the global medical community. To truly understand this, we have to look at one of the most comprehensive scientific reviews recently published, a meta-analysis analyzing data from 38 randomized controlled trials involving over 149,000 patients. For years, the medical community was trapped in a state of confusion regarding Omega-3. Some studies showed it protected the heart, while others showed it did absolutely nothing. This conflict led to fierce debates regarding its actual value. But the mystery was finally unraveled when we traveled to Boston, Massachusetts, looking at the brilliant minds at two prestigious institutions, Harvard Medical School and Boston University. At Harvard, we have Dr. Deepak Bhatt, the chief of cardiology and a globally renowned expert who collaborated with Dr. William Edward Bowden, a leading cardiology professor at Boston University. When scientific titans from institutions like these collaborate, the results are bound to alter medical history. Here is the core of the scientific mystery they solved. When you look at standard Omega-3 capsule from your local pharmacy, the fish oil inside primarily contains a mixture of two active chemical compounds, EPA and DHA. For decades, we gave patients this combination. However, the protective effect of this standard combined Omega-3 against severe cardiovascular diseases is actually quite weak. The scientists hypothesized that combining DHA with EPA might actually be offsetting or canceling out the beneficial clinical effects of the EPA treatment. So, they decided to isolate the EPA. They extracted just this one specific substance, Eicosapentaenoic acid, leaving the DHA behind. They then tested this pure, isolated EPA in massive clinical trials. The most famous of these is the REDUCE-IT trial, which involved a highly purified ethyl ester of EPA given to patients with established cardiovascular disease or diabetes. The results were nothing short of staggering. The pure EPA provided a significant 25% relative reduction in major adverse cardiovascular events, like cardiovascular death, non-fatal heart attacks, and strokes. But why? Why does isolated EPA work so brilliantly, while the mixed fish oil fails high-risk patients? The recent meta-analysis explains the profound biological differences between these two molecules on a microscopic level. EPA assumes an extended physical conformation inside your cellular membranes and lipoprotein molecules. This unique shape allows EPA to neutralize dangerous reactive oxygen species and stabilize the cell membrane, limiting the amount of oxidized bad cholesterol in your blood. DHA, on the other hand, has a slightly longer carbon chain, which adds fluidity to the membrane rather than stability. Even more critically, EPA can dramatically lower your triglyceride levels without raising your bad cholesterol, known as LDL. In sharp contrast, DHA has actually been shown to modestly increase bad cholesterol levels in patients who already suffer from elevated triglycerides. By isolating the EPA, scientists created a targeted weapon that stabilizes plaques in the arteries and prevents heart attacks without the counterproductive effects of DHA. When researchers separated EPA-only trials from EPA plus DHA trials, the undeniable truth emerged. EPA monotherapy significantly reduced cardiovascular mortality, non-fatal heart attacks, and coronary heart disease events. Meanwhile, the combination of EPA plus DHA showed weaker or no results in preventing these major adverse cardiovascular events. When all this data, files upon files of conclusive evidence from over 100,000 patients, was presented to the authorities, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration had to act. They approved the use of isolated EPA as a standalone, highly potent prescription medication under the generic scientific name Icosapent Ethyl. Pharmaceutical companies rapidly caught on. Today, this super medication is available globally, including in our local pharmacies. For instance, in Egypt, you might find it produced by a company called Marshall under the brand name Icosapent, or by Hikma under the name Vizkeepa. I must emphasize, I do not accept sponsorships or do advertising for pharmaceutical companies. I am simply giving you the names so you can discuss them with your doctor. These medications typically cost around 213 Egyptian pounds and are often taken as 2 capsules daily for treatment or 1 for prevention, depending on your physician's exact orders. Now, in the spirit of complete scientific transparency and honesty, we must discuss the safety profile. As an expert, I cannot give you only the good news. Even a super supplement has risks. The rigorous meta-analysis revealed that while high-dose pure EPA is a miracle for preventing heart attacks, it was associated with a higher risk of total bleeding compared to control groups. Furthermore, it showed an increase in the incidence of atrial fibrillation, which is a type of irregular heartbeat. This is exactly why the Super Omega-3 is a serious medication, not just a casual daily vitamin, and must be respected as such. As always, I want to leave you with a dedicated summary of practical advice that you can apply immediately to protect your health and the health of your loved ones, based on the absolute latest research. First, understand your personal risk category to choose the right supplement. If you are generally healthy, not at high risk for heart disease, relatively young, a non-smoker, and have no chronic conditions like diabetes or high blood pressure, you do not need the expensive prescription Super Omega-3. You can safely and effectively stick to standard over-the-counter Omega-3 fish oil supplements. It contains enough EPA alongside DHA to support your general cardiovascular maintenance. Second, if you are in the high-risk category, meaning you have suffered a heart attack, you have severe diabetes, high blood pressure, or dangerously high triglycerides, standard fish oil is no longer enough to protect you. You must schedule a visit with your cardiologist and specifically ask them about Icosapent Ethyl or isolated EPA therapy. Their preventive and therapeutic efficacy is scientifically proven to be vastly superior, actively crushing your triglycerides and stabilizing the dangerous plaques in your arteries. Third, always disclose your full medication list to your doctor, because we now know that high-dose pure EPA can increase the risk of bleeding. You must be incredibly careful if you're already taking blood thinners like aspirin, Plavix, or medications like warfarin or Eliquis. Do not play doctor with your own life. Let your cardiologist adjust your dosages safely to prevent complications. Fourth, never underestimate the power of lifestyle. Even the most powerful Super Omega-3 in the world cannot completely reverse the damage of a terrible diet, heavy smoking, and chronic, unmanaged stress. We must work on managing our daily psychological pressure, perhaps through deep breathing, walking, or prayer, as stress physically damages the endothelium of your blood vessels. Try to incorporate natural sources of EPA into your diet as well, such as wild-caught salmon, sardines, and mackerel, eating them at least twice a week. This concludes our deep dive today into the fascinating world of the super Omega-3 Icosapent ethyl. It is a perfect example how rigorous science continuously evolves to provide us with sharper, better tools to extend human life and alleviate suffering. May God protect you all from harm and illness. Keep your heart strong and healthy and grant you peace. Until our next episode, peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you.